moving on to the South region in Pittsburgh, looking at 14-seeded Oakland coming off of the Horizon League Tournament Championship, taking on third seed in Kentucky, who lost to aforementioned Texas A&M in the quarterfinals of the SEC tournament on Friday. This one tipping off on Thursday as well. My raw numbers make this right around Kentucky, minus 12.5, minus 13-ish. Point spread is around Kentucky, minus 13. Eric, this one stood out to you. So where are you looking here?
This was a team that I was looking at before the brackets were even released. There's something about Oakland, and I'll talk about it in a second. Kentucky, I have favored by 14. Over-under is 160.5. A slight away from home boost for Oakland. On paper, there's a big mismatch here in that Kentucky is fourth in the country in offensive efficiency. Oakland on the defensive end is 148th. So you look at this and go, well, why would you pick away from Kentucky? Well, as I've said before, one of the things, the teams that I find most susceptible coming into the NCAA tournament, the teams that are early round losers, are teams that are very, very good on offense and not so great defensively. Fourth in offensive efficiency for Kentucky, 87th on the defensive end. And I think that's going to be problematic long term for Kentucky. The other thing I look for in upsets for the NCAA tournament is not necessarily teams that are acquiring wins, but the teams that are really performing well against high-level power conference teams. And if you look earlier in the year for Oakland, you don't see this from a lot of different teams on the 13, 14, or 15 line. But if you're looking at Oakland early on this year, they go to Ohio State and lose by 6. They go to Illinois and they lose by 11. They play on a neutral court against Drake and lose by 8. And then they go to Xavier and win that game by 2. So this is kind of the fingerprint that I look for a team that is going to be upstart in the tournament and take down and up and a higher seed. But in this situation, it's even better because Kentucky is one of those teams that's very susceptible, great offensively, not so great defensively. If all of a sudden those shots are falling for Oakland and nothing's working for Kentucky, they're going to be in deep trouble, could find themselves in an early deficit and be scrambling to come back late.
The one thing I want to mention here before, Derek, you can take a look at this game if you have any notes. If you don't, all good. Trey Townsend for Oakland. And I, by the way, just to preface, I do like the defensive matchup here for Oakland, just with Campy's. He's well known for throwing that zone at the opponents. That's what Oakland primarily runs. Now, Kentucky can shoot it when you look at the efficiency numbers, and they can play 5 out. Actually, the highest three-point percentage nationally across college basketball at 41.2%. When you think about Dillingham, Reeves, Wagner, Shepard. The fact that Shepard is shooting over 52% on the season from 3 and he's missed 0 games is just absurd when you think about holding your efficiency over the full length of a season. So from that sense, Kentucky doesn't line up well, but experienced Oakland team that has a really good score down low that maybe Kentucky's size can negate, but just a little bit of a different look, especially an experienced coach in Campy. It may not be the worst thing, even though Kentucky theoretically matches up well against his own defense. The one point that I think goes against Kentucky here or goes against Oakland, I should say, Kentucky has the length to bother Townsend down low, and Townsend doesn't really space the floor. I think he has a top 250 possession rate across college basketball, so Oakland pretty much runs their offense through him, especially when you think about this on a national level. So, I don't necessarily have an edge towards Kentucky. Like I said, I make this right around Kentucky, minus 12.5, but I don't necessarily favor Oakland enough to advocate betting it. But Derek, anything here before we move on?
No, not really. Kentucky's defense is concerning it's going to be concerning when they get to the Sweet 16 if they get there. I'm not looking to back Oakland here. It is a large number. You can get I see a 14 right now, so you can grab that. But I'm not looking to fade Kentucky right now. I look to fade them maybe later on in the tournament, but not right now.